Welcome back to the Body Count. In this episode, we're taking a look at Jurassic Park 3, released in 2001. Now, JP3 is much different than its predecessors. I mean, it's not based on a book, it's not directed by Steven Spielberg, it isn't focused on the T-Rex, but rather a Spinosaurus, it's not over 2 hours long, and it's not really all that good. Yeah, instead of being this big grand story, they've kind of narrowed the scope down to this one group of people who get stuck on the island, but hey, maybe the film's body count can make up for that. Let's take a look at the film and find out for sure. This is gonna be a long one, I can tell. The movie begins on Isla Sorna, which we learn has become restricted, which of course means that some white people want to poke at it. The white person in question is Ben Hildebrand, who's taking his girlfriend's son Eric to go parasailing. This black market guy named Enrique is driving him out there, and we learn that the black market in this universe has apparently got branding and logos. So, like, do the local drug dealers have, like, punch cards? 9 grams of smack and you get a free handful of Zans. Anyway, it doesn't take long before Enrique and his helmsman drive right into some fog. And this is honestly a scene that sounds absolutely horrible if you don't have the visuals to go along with it.
Hold on! What's happening? Hold on! Make it stop!
But don't worry, it's not too bad. It's just 2 people getting brutally murdered by dinosaurs. And apparently, like, in some deleted scene or whatever, it was revealed that this was done by pteranodons, which makes no fucking sense whatsoever, but whatever. I'll have to log that down for the species breakdown at the end. But oh no, the boat might, scrape against some rocks over there. That's so dangerous. But thankfully, Ben manages to get the child away to a much safer environment. The island full of fucking monsters. I know somebody's gotten eaten. The movie doesn't really have to try for the next 15 minutes, so we can meet Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler. Remember that whole thing in the movie about they had this big old character arc where Grant was like, didn't want to have kids, and then he got ready to have a kid? Well, guess what? They're not together anymore. They don't have a kid. Nope, Ellie married some random other guy who might be the least insecure dude who ever exists, because, like, she's completely fine with his wife hanging out with an old boyfriend, and usually that wouldn't be anything to get insecure about. But when said boyfriend is Sam Neill the ass grabber, I'd be keeping an eye on him. Anyway, yeah, this dude has like 2 lines of dialogue, and it's established he does stuff for the military and foreign affairs and everything. That's got to be relevant later. But the main purpose of the scene is for Grant to talk about how smart raptors are, and
They were smarter than primates.
bullshit. They're smarter than primates. I mean, yeah, the raptors smart enough to open a door, but you know what really separates, the high intelligence of primates from the other animals is ingenuity and building shit. And show me a velociraptor making a spear, and then I'll start to believe you. But Grant can still do a seminar for a college all about how smart velociraptors are, but everybody just wants to know how the hell we're gonna get him back on the island for a Jurassic Park sequel.
No force on earth or heaven could get me on that island.
And thus, Grant decides not to go, stays home, and doesn't get into any shit. I told you this one was much shorter than the first 2. So, how many people got killed? No, I'm just fucking with you. There's more. We go right over to the dig site where we meet the hip new paleontologist, Billy Brennan. And it seems that ass-grabbing Grant has taught him well because he's getting all close and personal with a sexy female paleontologist. But this is cut short when Grant arrives and Billy wants to show them their new toy, a 3D printer which makes the most exotic kazoo ever made. And it doesn't sound a goddamn thing like an actual velociraptor, so, thanks for pissing away the last of our money, Billy. But hey, Alan Grant's at a dig site, so it means it's only a matter of time before a rich man shows up trying to get him on an island full of dinosaurs, and that appears in the form of Paul Kirby. Grant and Billy have dinner with him and his wife Amanda, and they establish that they're rich adventurers who want Grant to be, their guide as they fly over the island, and they're not gonna go on it. No, my god, it's the most bullshit cover story ever presented, but whatever. But hey, Grant said no force on earth or heaven could get him on an island, so, money, which was created by hell, is just good enough. Then I'm on a plane piloted by Udesky and Nash, and in the back is a mercenary named Cooper. And yeah, Grant, just like the rest of the audience, is already bored and wants to get to the dinosaurs already, so he falls asleep.
Alan!
The fuck?
Alan!
No. Go back. That was the stupidest shit I've ever seen, but I think I'm far more interested in whatever the hell happens in that movie. But no, unfortunately we're stuck with this movie with the non-talking dinosaurs, and there's a whole bunch of them. The Kirby's start talking about wanting to land, and Grant starts losing his shit because, obviously. So Cooper knocks him the fuck out. And by the time Grant comes to, they've already landed. And this is where Grant learns something about his new bosses.
Ben! Amanda, honey, Dr. Grant said that's a bad idea.
What?
They're fucking idiots. Yeah, they're just yelling off into the jungle, full of prehistoric monsters. Yeah, I wonder how well that's gonna work.
What's a bad idea?
And what's funny, whenever a strange woman busts into my house and starts yelling at me, I make the same noise. Yeah, so great job, lady. You managed to piss off a T-Rex.
I don't think so. It sounds bigger.
It sounds... Fuck you mean it sounds big? How does that... It sounds bigger? Nash and Udesky run back pretty fast considering they've just shat themselves, and everybody hops back in the plane, but they realize that they're one man short. That being Cooper, who runs onto the runway, and look, I'm sorry dude, but if you want the big bag dinosaur to have a cool introduction, we're gonna need a sacrifice. So, Cooper, you're first to go. All of a sudden the Spinosaurus bursts from the tree line and snatches him up. And bites him straight fucking in half. See, that's pretty cool. And when the plane strikes the Spinosaurus' sail and somehow doesn't fucking paralyze the thing, and they crash right into the jungle. And then they all die. So, how many people were killed? No, I'm just kidding. There's still more. The Spinosaurus just teleports right over and rips the front of the plane off. Udesky manages to get away, but Nash is grabbed by the Spinosaurus. And while it pulls him out and drops him, he actually survives for a further 5 seconds before getting, ripped in half. The plane falls out the tree, and, this is a good moment for me to comment on the special effects in this film. They're kind of a downgrade from the last two movies. The CGI looks better than the animatronics, which have this, jerky movement. And while it is impressive for its size, unlike the first two, where they had this big-ass T-Rex animatronic and still managed to make it look and feel like a real animal, this one doesn't. It's all jerky and shit. And, the CGI is like a completely different size than the animatronic. It's really, really goddamn weird how it can just constantly change how big it is between shots. I don't know what you're thinking. Okay, but yeah, Spinosaurus is cool and all, but the logo has a T-Rex on it, so where the fuck is the T-Rex? Well, don't you worry, as the team runs away from the Spinosaurus, they run right into a goddamn sexual Tyrannosaurus. And it's got lipstick. It chases them right back to the Spinosaurus, and even though it's very, very early into the movie, we get what should be the climactic showdown. The T-Rex dies in 30 seconds, so Grant is pissed the fuck off. And what's even worse is that they learn that the Kirbys aren't even rich, so they're doing all this shit for no goddamn money. Quickly to the truth. That being that they're only here to look for their son, Eric Kirby, which, I feel like that story would have been more convincing for Grant to come than the lie of, hey, we need you to be our guide. It's Alan Grant rescuing children from dinosaurs is, his entire thing. Anyway, they decide to stick together as Grant comes up with a genius plan of saying fuck it and leave. Their plan is to get to the coast and, just kind of pray that somebody happens to find them. But as they keep moving, they find that sail from the opening scene stuck in a tree. They decide to pull on it, and a Party City skeleton comes out. I'm not sure where they got the Halloween decoration. Oh, wait, no, that's Ben? That's supposed to be Ben? The guy from the opening? That's a real person skeleton. Okay, sure, movie, if that's what the fuck you want to say. Alright, we can go with that. I'll play pretend with you. Amanda gets scared and runs off, so Paul goes to get her back. And they quickly reconcile.
I'm sorry about Ben.
It's not Ben, Paul. It's Eric.
Just fuck Ben, I guess. They also make a chilling discovery. They are surrounded by just 10 goddamn raptor nests. 10 nests. 10 fucking nests. And 10 this whole movie is about how smart and communal the raptors are and how they're just so social, and there's 10 fucking nests there and not a single raptor to keep watch. After Billy totally doesn't steal some eggs, they find a giant retconning facility. Secret lab where they grow the dinosaurs. And when they walk in there to see everything stuck in a tube, and we see that Amanda is still a fucking idiot, before they get attacked by a raptor, which is apparently nicknamed Quilliam, because of his little mohawk, which is fucking amazing, I think. So they run from Quilliam, and they actually manage to lock it behind a door.
He's calling for help.
How does Grant know that the raptor is calling for... The raptors in the first movie never made any of those noises. Is that dream sequence trying to tell us that Grant has... learned raptor speak? Does Grant speak Raptorese? So the group must run to a herd of hadrosaurs. And once again get separated. Grant all by himself, while the Kirbys and Billy hide in a tree, while Udesky, the most expendable character, is out by himself. I wonder what'll happen to him. Oh geez, who saw that coming? Yeah, so the Raptors decide to just leave him there and fuck off. But when Udesky starts moving, Amanda wants to jump down there and help him, only for the Raptors to return and attack. Because they've set a trap, which, like, how the hell do the Raptors know enough about human anatomy to pull that shit off? I don't know. But the big female Raptor, which is apparently nicknamed McFlurry, her name is McFlurry? Okay, I'd like to apologize to all the Jurassic Park 3 fanboys. I was wrong. Clearly this movie is a fucking masterpiece if the Raptor's name is McFlurry. As McFlurry calls the whole pack back, William stops and decides, well, if we can't have him, no one can, and snaps Udesky's neck while the others watch. But what exactly were they called back for? And then he gets eaten by the Raptors, dying alone in the jungle. So, how many people were the Raptors surround Grant? They're driven off by a smoke bomb thrown by Robin Williams from Jumanji. Or, I guess, Eric Kirby, who is shockingly the best character in this movie. Yeah, the kid is the best character in this movie. I don't know if that means that, like, this particular kid is just, like, a really well-written kid, or if that's just because all the adults in this movie are insufferable and stupid.
This is T-Rex P. How'd you get it?
You don't want to know.
No, Eric. I do want to know how the fuck you got that. After night falls and everybody kind of talks through some character development, Eric hears a ringtone from a satellite phone, and he recognizes it from his parents' store, so him and Grant rush toward it. And even though the Kirbys don't hear the ringtone for some reason, they do hear Eric screaming at the top of his lungs, so they rush towards him, and they all meet in the middle of the island with a giant fence, even though John Hammond said that there were no fences on this island, but whatever. But, wait a minute. Paul didn't have the satellite phone. Nash had the satellite phone. And Nash got fucking eaten. So, then where is the ringtone coming from? I'm gonna eat all you motherfuckers, one by one, starting with the kid, until somebody answers this fucking phone. And so Grant and Eric make a run for it, towards the luckiest goddamn hole in any fence ever. And hey, so it seems they're all okay. I mean, what's Spinosaurus gonna do? Just burst through a giant titanium fence? Oh. Shit. But don't worry, they can make a run for a building nearby. And, okay, now what are they gonna do? Lock down the Spinosaurus that just broke through a titanium fence and keep it held back with a wooden door? You think a wooden door is gonna stop it? A wooden door stop? Okay, well played. Billy wants his bag back, and Grant decides to look through his personal shit and discovers that he has stolen some raptor eggs, so that's why the Raptors were after them.
You're no better than the people that built this place.
Yes, because if it's one thing that paleontologists are known for being vehemently against, it's learning new things about dinosaurs. And also, look, I mean, I hate Billy just as much as the next guy, but as bad as the people who built this place, that's a little bit overkill, Grant. And I decided to head down a flight of stairs just to see, where it goes. And it leads him right into a bird cage, which is actually one of the best sequences in the movie. The limited visibility kind of gives the whole scene a horror vibe, which plays really well into the CGI and practical effects for the pteranodons, which are designed pretty well. I mean, it's not nearly as good as the design in The Lost World, and these toothless wings all have teeth, but it's Jurassic Park 3. The movie will take what I give it. Anyway, after Eric gets grabbed and dragged to a nest, Billy saves the day. Using his hang gliding skills, he saves Eric, and for his heroic deeds. He's attacked by the pteranodons, and they surround him and brutally murder the ever-loving fuck out of him. The others escape and manage to find a boat on the coast, and you think they'd be home free, but don't be ridiculous. Well, you think they're gonna escape the island on a boat? No, they better contact the outside world or they'll be in deep shit. I guess they could do both. That works too. The Ceratosaurus shows up, but, I hope you're not hoping for anything cool because all it does is sniff some shit and then leave. Let's get back on the boat, and as it starts to storm, Grant manages to call the one person who can help.
Hello?
I suppose a 3-year-old would be more useful in this situation than the police. Yeah, he actually meant to call Ellie, But the phone call is interrupted when a Spinosaurus attacks the boat. But don't worry, Grant manages to give Ellie all the information she needs. And honestly, I gotta say, maybe the limited visibility from it being nighttime and all the rain and all that stuff, but it's the same animatronic and CGI model that we had from before, but now it actually looks a lot more convincing. This entire nighttime attack sequence actually looks great. I mean, the Spinosaurus still, kind of moves jerkily, but for the most part, it looks pretty fantastic. But they managed to fight it back, because as we all know, the biggest fear of a dinosaur is when water catches fire. And yes, I am aware that, the boat fuel leaked all in the water, and they hit it with the flare gun, it ignited, and it caught fire, and now there's fire on the water, and that is how that would work. Yes, I know. I know that. But the fucking dinosaur does not know that. And I want to see you try to explain it to him. And they continue their trek to the coast. And they get pretty damn close before the raptors return. We learn that McFlurry apparently has a lot of internalized misogyny because she immediately blames a woman for stealing their eggs. And while they're all surrounded by the raptors, Grant decides to pull out their kazoo and decides to start mimicking some raptor noises. It doesn't matter, the raptors don't even fall for that anyway and instead leave whenever a helicopter comes by, meaning that entire plot point was fucking pointless. They went out to the coast, and somehow all these guys managed to find the exact coast that these guys were heading to, on the exact right side of the island. So they all get on the helicopter and are prepared to leave, and then we see that Billy somehow survived, and they somehow found his ass before they found everybody else. And oh look, there's some pteranodons that left the island, even though, they were still freely out on the island in the last movie. Oh wait, no, I think I got it. So, the pteranodons didn't leave the island. No. Instead, they built a cage around themselves, lived in that cage, and then waited for some dipshit to come along and open that cage. And then they left the island. So, apart from, the franchise being dead for 14 years, how many other people were killed during the film? Well, let's take a look at the scoreboard and find out. Only 6 people died in Jurassic Park 3, which is 3 times lower than the previous film. All his victims were also male, so we don't have an interesting chart for this one. Well, with a runtime of 92 minutes, that gives us a kill on average every 15.33 minutes. Breaking down each kill by species, the raptors jumped up to the lead as the 2 kills they scored bumps their kill count up to 12. And we have 2 newcomers entering the chart, with the pteranodon scoring 2 kills and the Spinosaurus also scoring 2 kills. And that's all the stats I got for you. So I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next one, where I take a break from the Jurassic franchise for now, because this is the last Jurassic Park movie. Instead, I'm going to be starting something else. You'll see what it is tomorrow, but until then, this has been The Body Count. Peace.